Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Izzo.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to We're Done With This Week edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL in Sioux Falls, KMBN in Rapid City, and everywhere on Inforum.com. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 15th day of May, 2026. I am Dom Izzo, host of said show. We've made it to the end of the week, and appropriately enough, the wind is with it because it's been here every day this week. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere, at least for a little bit. For those of us that were out at the Summit League track meet yesterday, felt it with our faces for the better part of 4 hours out there. The event was actually delayed for 3 hours, which we'll get to in just a little bit. Looks like, at least for now, everything is on time to start later this morning. Had a couple of record-setting performances that happened yesterday up on the north side, and we'll show you all that coming up here in just a little bit. Day 2 today. The big day tomorrow, obviously, with all the running events, finals set to take place, and actually a few events that were set to go yesterday had to be moved. You don't want to be throwing the javelin when it's about 45-mile-per-hour winds. Like, literally, they couldn't hold anything down up there. The amount of different instruments that were used to keep things from flying away were impressive. So you don't want to be throwing a large, pointy stick in 45-mile-per-hour winds. So that got moved to Saturday. I believe the pole vault got moved indoors. Again, you don't want to be trying to be hurtling through the air when it's about 40-mile-per-hour wind. Doesn't sound great. So we'll update things there coming up in just a little bit. A lot to get to today. Here it is. Tonight, Game 6, Wolves-Spurs. It feels like it's been about 2 years since they played a basketball game, considering we had the Wild debacle that happened on Wednesday night to end their season. But here's a chance back home to get it to a Game 7, which would be Sunday night in San Antonio if they're able to win. We'll preview that coming up in a little bit as well. It's a big weekend for baseball rubes out there. This used to be the start of interleague play. Now that everybody plays everybody, that novelty is gone, but we still have some rivalry series for New Yorkers. It's the Subway Series this weekend with the Mets and the Yankees. Notice who goes first in that. The Twins are playing the Brewers this weekend. The Cardinals are playing the Royals. The Dodgers playing the Angels. You get the drift on that, what's going on there. We are down to the final 5 teams in hockey. The Vegas Golden Knights won last night to eliminate Anaheim, so it's going to be Vegas and Colorado for the West. We know Carolina's been sitting around for about a month waiting for its opponent. It might be Montreal. The Canadiens have a chance to eliminate Buffalo. That is on WDAY tomorrow night. A lot to get to today, including we mentioned Bison football at the start of the week. You met their newest incoming transfer. They just got another one last night, again on the offensive side of the ball. We'll do that before we wrap things up. Also, I came across for the first time, now that NDSU is a Division I FBS program in football, that there are legitimate Las Vegas odds out for the amount of wins they have. They never did this in FCS. Heck, they barely had the games available, as my dad would always tell me, for FCS games. But there are a couple of sports books that have actually now put the under-over on the amount of Bison wins for this year. We'll get to that coming up later on in the show. But I purposely have not spent 1 second looking at the schedules last night. After I got home from track, even digging deep here into the Izzo itinerary, I mowed the lawn for the first time which, by the way, mowing the lawn is 1,000 times better than snowblowing. It's not even close. For those that think snowblowing is better than mowing the lawn, no, I could not disagree more on that. Anyway, so did that. Then Jackman went to bed, and it was SVU night last night. So we had a whole. So I have not looked at any schedules at all. I thought we talked about it plenty. I'm like, I'm going to go in fresh on this to see who is playing whom. We knew that already, but when specifically for the Minnesota Vikings. From what I hear, everybody got a great schedule, right? What I also found out, apparently, because I looked this morning on the Jets, breaking news, they did not get any primetime games at all. In fact, the Jets didn't even get any 325 games. Like, the 325 window is what, hey, we've got a good matchup here. More people tend to watch than at noon. Oh, thank you. They didn't get a single one. They open with the Titans, so there's the Robert Saleh Bowl right off the bat. Didn't they do that last year? Yeah, we got Aaron Rodgers to start last year. The Packers at home, at the Lions. What are we doing with all the NFC teams right off the hop? At Detroit, at Chicago, home for the Browns. Did we not even get a Thursday night game? No Monday night games, nothing. Hey, at least I know when they're playing. Every Sunday they'll be at noon. Home for Miami, at the Raiders, at the Chiefs, home for the Bills, at the Chargers, at the Well, I don't like that. That's not great. Home for Denver, at Arizona. We get the Vikes right after the first of the year. Let's go. And then end the season with the Bills. We always end in Buffalo. Let me see. What is the first game with Buffalo? November 15th. Coming back from Hawaii. Phil Hansen and I, plenty of trash talk there for the Bills, Jets, right after the Bison are playing their game in Hawaii. No one cares about that. Let's rip with the Vikes schedule. This is my first time looking at it, so this is going to be raw reaction for the first time of seeing this up close. It starts with 2 division games. How about that? Late kickoff with Green Bay. I think that's the first time, right? It was a Christian Watson's rookie year when the Packers and the Vikings opened. The Vikes have been on the road the last couple of years. Famously last year with the Bears on Monday night. Then at Chicago. Then at Tampa. That should be warm. Cody Mauch back for Tampa Bay this year. That's a 3 o'clock kick, by the way, at Tampa for the Vikings in Week 3. Then the Dolphins come to U.S. Bank Stadium the first week of October. Then a matchup with Bryce Lance and the New Orleans Saints on October the 11th in New Orleans. That's a noon kickoff. Early bye this year. The bye week comes in Week 6. Then home for the Colts. Well, there you go. Getzinger's Colts come on October the 25th. What do we got going on that week? He can make that work. It's a noon kickoff at U.S. Bank Stadium. Then at the Lions. Monday Night Football at home with the Buffalo Bills? Wow, that's all right. At Green Bay. Then we knew the Mexico City game against San Francisco was a Sunday nighter. Then the Falcons at home. Panthers in a late kickoff window, 3:25 on December the 6th. At the Patriots, that's Thursday Night Football. Follow it up with a Monday night game Sunday night, against the Lions. Boy, how many years in a row now did they've given Detroit prime matchup there? Because you remember 2 years ago for the division title was a Sunday night game. Last year was Christmas with Detroit. Now this year, a Sunday night game. Then the Commanders, and we don't know. That could be a Sunday night or a Saturday or a Sunday game. They didn't flex the Jets game. And then the end with the Bears. And again, that can be moved to Saturday or Sunday as well. So there it is. The amount of primetime games actually surprises me. For a team that was 9-8 last year, the Vikes got 1, 2, 3, 4 primetime games. That's not bad. They must think Minnesota's going to be A-OK this upcoming year. Bills on a Monday night will be fun. That will be rocking early November U.S. Bank Stadium here. You see they have 4 roadies to start the season. Just a couple of back-to-back road games. That's the early in the year at Chicago, at Tampa. And again, we mentioned earlier with the bye week coming early on in the year. So there it is. You can now start planning weddings. You can start planning homecoming trips, all that. I always used to joke about that when I did the news. Like, all right, everybody now can plan their lives because the Vikings schedule is out for the season. It's amazing how that's become such a monstrous deal. We talked about already that the 49ers early this week are going to fly 36,000 miles this season, more than any other team. The first game out of the chute will be the Patriots-Seahawks. It'll be a rematch of the Super Bowl. That'll be on Wednesday, September the 9th to start the NFL season. We got games on Thanksgiving Eve. We got a game on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. It's happening because how the calendar falls this year, where Christmas and New Year's are falling, those are just perfect dates for NFL games that are traditionally there. So there you have it. We can now put it to bed. After a week of talking about it, it's now out there. Meanwhile, we talked on the Wolves season, trying to keep going and give that. Meanwhile, we got Cory Provus coming up here in a little bit. The Minnesota Twins are quietly having a pretty good week. The Twins won 2 of 3 in Cleveland. Now they have a long homestand here. Got the Marlins to start. We mentioned the Brewers start tonight. They just dusted Miami and got 2 great pitching performances in it. Started first with Bailey Ober the other night with a complete game. Zebby Matthews made his season debut, getting called up. Twins, though, couldn't get anything going early in the game as Miami had its starting pitcher in Braxton Garrett. Got a couple of early outs here to get out of a jam, but it didn't last. Bottom of the second, Austin Martin will deliver with a ground rule double off the limestone in left. Royce Lewis, Kreidler called back up when Matt Wallner went down. Josh Bell laces a double to left. That's going to score James Outman, and Martin comes in. 4-0 Twins in the second inning. It's 5-0. Outman finally does something at the plate. This guy, for the Dodgers a couple years ago, could hit. Then he hasn't been able to hit the broadside of a barn. He comes through with an RBI single, makes it 6-0. I don't know what he's trying to do going to second. Then, how about Outman again in the bottom of the 8th? With a double to left to score 2. Kreidler and Luke Keeschall score, made it 8-1 Twins. Austin Martin would finish it off with a base hit to the opposite field to put Outman in to score. The Twins roll. They beat the Marlins 9-1 to take 2 of 3 from Miami. They've won 4 out of 6 after scuffling for the better part of April and early May. They're still 4 games under 500. But I say that to you here on the 15th day of May. They're in 3rd place in the American League Central, which just tells you exactly where things are at. Much more on the Twins coming up in our first hour. Cory Provus will join us to chat about that at about 9:35 this morning as Milwaukee comes to town. Now, I mentioned off the top, we had day 1 of the Summit League Track Championship get going yesterday up at NDSU on the north side of town. We were supposed to start at about 12:30 yesterday, and we got word, I think right after Hot Mike wrapped, that competition had been delayed 3 hours because of the wind. Several events that were supposed to take place yesterday were moved because of the wind, either to later in the day or till Saturday. We did have a few events go yesterday. We'll show you a little smorgasbord of a little bit of everything that took place yesterday on the north side. You could again, wind was strong. The decathlon and the heptathlon began yesterday. This is the 110-meter hurdles on the women's hep. Yolande Nabwe of NDSU took this heat. She's currently in 2nd place in the heptathlon after the first 4 events. Kindred's Paul Olson right there coming at you in the middle. He won the 100 meters. He's in second place in the decathlon after the opening day. This is Hillsborough's Caden Pastian in the hammer throw. Brings home a Summit League championship. He's been waiting to do that. Wins the hammer through a personal best of 207 feet, 5 inches. 8th best all time at NDSU. Kindred's Jack Packer finished 3rd in the hammer throw as well. Meanwhile, the star of the day was Jaden Keeler in the 10,000 meters for the University of North Dakota. We've had her on Hot Mic a couple of times. She was sensational yesterday in winning. This race is the longest race they have out there, over 30 minutes. UND swept in this event. They went 1, 2, and 3. That's never happened before. Keeler ran 35 minutes, 3 seconds to win in the 10,000 meters. Shaway Johnson finished second as well in that. Amber Eichhorn finished a distant, or broke the record of Amber Eichhorn to Keeler, set back in 2015. UND went 1, 2, 3 in that event. Here's a little bit of comments afterwards from a couple of the winners.
Started out at the back and picked up my teammates along the way, and we kind of formed a little train going on and just started clicking off laps together at a pretty even pace, I think. And just worked together throughout the race to try to score some big points.
Through the 5 years I've been competing at NDSU, I've had some ups and downs, but, with them at my back and, just coming back every year and, having that itch and just kind of caught one today. Felt good.
By the way, MVP of the mustache of the year for Caden Pastian. Just another quick word on Keeler. She's going to race in the 1,500 and the 5,000, both on Saturday. She's the heavy favorite to win both of those, to win Summit League track MVP. She did it last year when the event was in Vermillion. She's got a chance to do it again. She's already clinched an NCAA spot coming up next month. That is one of the real finds for UND track out of Canada. We had Jaden on, I want to say about this time last year when she dominated the Summit League meet, and that was impressive to watch. I mean, she mentioned she was, quote-unquote, started in the back, and then there was a time, I want to say about the 20-minute mark, she's even with a couple of her teammates, and then, bam, put the hammer down, and she ended up winning by a comfortable margin to win the 10,000 meters. That's just the start of 3 days of competition. Much more coming up later today. WDAY Sports will have you covered for that, both today and tomorrow at the Summit League Track Championships on the north side of town. We have a busy show coming up for you here today. Our Friday guest lineup brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Cory Provus, I mentioned, will join us at 9:35 to give us the lowdown as the Twins get ready for the Milwaukee Brewers coming in for the next 3 games. That's coming up at 9:35. Really excited about our 10 o'clock guest. At about 10:10, Jenny Christofferson will join us. UND newly minted Hall of Famer, the former Jenny Bowl, of course, one of the great all-time women's basketball players in the University of North Dakota history. Found out earlier this week she's going into the UND Athletic Hall of Fame. She'll join us to chat just after 10 o'clock this morning. Her daughter is right now one of the top, I'd say, players in the state of North Dakota for the class of 2027. Jordan Christofferson just wrapped up her junior year at Horace. Recruiting is certainly hot and heavy there. So we'll visit with Jenny about that coming up just after 10. And at 10:35, we mentioned North Dakota State football. I believe this might be their last edition. We'll find out. Tochi Okoro will join us, transferred in from Garden City Community College in Dodge City, Kansas. Wide receiver, 6'3" wide receiver. We'll visit with him about transferring into North Dakota State and becoming a member of the Bison. Get him up here, I imagine, in the next couple of weeks as summer workouts are right around the corner. So that's our guest lineup here on a busy Friday morning. We'll take our first break. We come back, get whatever cliche you want, do or die, win or go home, season on the line. That's it for the Wolves. Can they do it tonight against the Spurs? We'll preview Game 6 when Hot Mic returns on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com. Off and rolling here on a Friday morning edition of Hot Mic. Glad you're joining us. Cory Provus will join us in about 15 minutes. Chat some Twins as they get ready for a set with the Brewers. Okay, well, we have come to the day. Game 6 tonight, Target Center, Minnesota, San Antonio. After the Spurs laid the wood to Minnesota in Game 5, 126-97, in a game where, again, the Wolves got off to a disastrous start much like Game 3, very similar to Game 4. We mentioned earlier this week, it's been no surprise that the better team is San Antonio. I'm not disputing that. The question is, if this happens tonight, San Antonio wins. And I know Chris Hine wrote about this. We've had on the show from the Star Tribune. Headline is, Analysis, Spurs series could end up being a referendum on the Timberwolves front court. If the Wolves bow out to San Antonio, is a Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert pairing enough to compete with the Spurs and Thunder? The answer right now is a resounding no. Randle has not been good this entire postseason. I think I'd argue that. Rudy Gobert was, I think, the MVP of the series with Denver. I'm a co-MVP with Jaden McDaniels because Anthony Edwards was hurt and missed the last couple of games, as did Dante, that without Rudy, who was unbelievable against Jokic, they don't beat the Nuggets in the first round. Now, in the second round, he has been exposed like many other Timberwolves have with the amazing play of Victor Wembanyama. That goes without saying. I don't know, as Anthony Edwards said after Game 5, there's not much you can do when Wemby decides to start making shots. He did not make shots in Game 1, right? The Wolves were able to go out and get a lead. Wemby, I think, was 1 of 8 from three-point range in that first game, and Minnesota was able to get a 9-point fourth-quarter lead. Now, they nearly blew it, but won the game. We all know what happened in Game 4. He didn't finish. The games that he's played and played well, excuse me, Minnesota hasn't had a chance. San Antonio's won those games, including a blowout in Game 2 and a blowout in Game 5. They need a pulse out of Julius Randle tonight. They need something for him. If he can somehow mimic anything close to what he did in the Western Conference first round and semifinals last year, where he was great against Golden State in that, and he was awesome against the Lakers in those series a year ago, then they've got a chance to win this thing. If not, then San Antonio will roll again, and this will be it. And then some real decisions for Tim Connolly, the Wolves' general manager. Here's what Chris Finch and Rudy Gobert had to say yesterday, getting ready for Game 6.
I would say so. I'd say it's the most resilient for sure. No doubt about it. Our experiences have been helping us, just understanding kind of the ups and downs, leveling them out. Whether you lose by 30 or you lose by 3, it's still only a one-game loss in the series. Likewise, if you win, you have a big emotional win. You got to come back out and try to back it up. I think we've done a better job of level setting.
By the numbers, Randle has defended Wemby well. Is there any way to make that happen?
Yeah, stay out of foul trouble. We've had foul trouble issues, which in a couple games, whether it be him or Jaden, honestly, which is part of the non-Rudy Wemby lineup. Sometimes that's really affected our ability to get to some of the matchups that we want to.
Just bring the physicality, be focused on the game plan, and then once again, if they make a run, they make a run. But at least we know that we putting ourselves in the best position possible to have a great start.
Here's what Chris Hine had to add on the struggles that the Wolves have had in their front court. Says, unfortunately for the Wolves, what these past 2 postseasons have shown is that to compete with the Thunder and Spurs, they likely have to make changes to their front court and bolster their backcourt. We know that. They need to add a point guard there. There might still be room for one of Gobert and Randle in the future, but likely not both. When you're chasing down 2 budding superpowers in the West, like Oklahoma City and San Antonio, and Anthony Edwards is still only 24, you have to make some hard decisions. Randle and Gobert have helped the Wolves establish a floor of success, but after watching the Wolves these past 2 postseasons, the ceiling appears to be limited. Couldn't agree more on that. And that's where we're at here. I don't think they move Rudy. I know they just gave Randle an extension after last year. I think his contract is more palatable for someone to take on. Who that is, don't ask me. But I think Conley's got to get creative this offseason. They got to find a true legit point guard because Mike Conley, as much as I love him, it's at the end of the rope there. DeSumo they have to pay to come back. I think Io has certainly shown that he is a part of this team going forward. Bones Highland is what I mean. Bones gave him some nice minutes, but he's not even getting on the floor right now. Jane McDaniels is a superstar. You're not moving him, and I just don't think the market there, whatever and you want to say they overpaid for Rudy, and I was one of them when the trade went down. Gobert has proven his worth, that even at times it's unbelievably frustrating when he cannot catch the ball. It is directly passed to him, and he cannot just come up with it. For a man at 7'2" and can't just grasp it, but his ability defensively makes him an absolute. To me, you cannot part ways with him. I think whatever happens, if it ends tonight, if it ends Sunday night, if somehow they win both these games and even get to the Western Conference Finals, Oklahoma City's going to torch him again. That's just there. It's a bad matchup there. And if it ends tonight, then that's, I think, the last we see of Julius Randle in a Wolves jersey. Who would have thought that the Dante would have been the more valuable of the trade assets in the Cat deal? Not me on that one, but I think Chris Hines right on that. They need to alleviate the defensive pressure on Edwards. That hasn't happened effectively against the Thunder and Spurs in the playoffs. They're doubling Edwards all the time. They're going to do it tonight. To do that, they need a reliable ball handler who's a scoring threat. They don't have that. This can also help refocus Edwards on the defensive end of the floor, where he was better when he played alongside a younger version of Mike Conley 2 years ago. I'm hoping they win tonight. Would love to see him get this to a Game 7 and then take your chances on what could happen with a young Spurs team in that opportunity for the first time. Wolves have been down the road of a Game 7 before. They're going to need something special tonight. They'll see if that home crowd can spur them on. Let's break. We come back. We'll talk about the Target Center neighbors when we come back. The guys at Target Field are playing pretty well. Cory Provus will join us when Hot Mike returns right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Sorry on that little technical issue here, but we think we got, hopefully, on our egg, Cory Provus ready to rock and roll as the Twins are set for a weekend matchup with the Milwaukee Brewers. Start of a 3-game set tonight at Target Field at 6 o'clock. But, man, how's it going?
Doing fine, Dom. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. Thanks for giving us some time, as always. Twins are playing some pretty good ball right now. Won 4 out of 6. 2 great pitching performances. Describe what we've seen out of the Minnesota Nine this past week.
Yeah, I think the starting pitching has been really good, and I think what we saw with Bailey Ober on Tuesday night was just an incredible showing. And I was talking about this leading up to that last out on Tuesday. You know, I'm sure there was some internal discussion about even non-tendering Bailey into 2026 based on how the end of the season went and his salary going up in terms of arbitration and what the payroll was going to look like. Well, thankfully they did, really, with him and Trevor Larnach for that matter, that they tendered those two guys' contracts because both guys have made such a big impact with this team now 40-plus games in. But, yeah, I was so happy for Bailey. He's such a likable guy and somebody you root for and you want to see him succeed. And, I mean, it's kind of retro pitching. I mean, it in many ways is. And, you know, he's throwing upper 80s, but he's keeping the ball off the barrel for the most part. It's been so fun to watch. So happy for him and his success. And then, you know, the continued run here with Austin Martin has also been just a great sight, which we saw, Dom, at the tail end of last year, the final 2 months of 2025, and that has continued, if not even improved, into 2026. So, yeah, the Twins winning back-to-back series for the first time in a while. Certainly a good week.
89 pitches. I mean, from what we showed, and we're watching it right now from Tuesday, that's about as efficient as it gets in 2026 in Major League Baseball.
2 hours and, 7 minutes?
Yeah.
I think the game time was going back to Tuesday night. So, yeah, we left the ballpark and, Justin, Molly, and I were looking up, and it is still bright outside. It is very, very bright outside, and it was really something. And, the Marlins were aggressive. We knew that about that team. I think Bailey knew about that with that team, that they're going to swing and swing early. And many guys did, but just not many guys were able to put the barrel on the ball. We saw pop-up after pop-up, and that's what happens, because I think in this day and age, with fastball velocity being such the norm, if you will. I mean, the average fastball in today's game is closer to 95 miles an hour, and Bailey is not that. So, these guys are thinking quick, elevate, get the ball in the air, hit line drives. Well, they're getting under it. The timing is just off because they're not used to seeing this consistent velo starting with an 8.
Yeah.
And that is messing with hitters' timing, and we're seeing that play out.
So much was made, especially in spring training, about the lack of velocity. Has he adjusted to this now, or this is how he's going to throw from now on?
I think so. And he was adamant. He was very convicted early on. I remember asking him in Baltimore at the start of the season, I'm like, do you think you'll be able to find it once again? He said, yes, I will get back to it. We'll figure it out. It's not going to be 95, but I think I can get back to 91, 92. I don't know if he will be. I don't know it. I just think that how big he is and how his body works, if you want to get all technical and talk about his kinetic chain, I'll let you do that too if you want. But I think all that has to work and everything has to fire at one time. I think it's harder for somebody of that size in order to do so. So I think this is what it's going to be. And I think he's going to be like, you know what, it's working. So why not stick with it? And I think his breaking balls have been better. His sweeper, his slider, his changeup is still just a wonderful pitch. But I think he's getting better results with his slider and his sweeper than we saw in the past.
Then Zebby comes up, makes his season debut, and he has not been good in the minor leagues. What happened yesterday?
So his last 3 or 4 were better. I mean, he got knocked around his first 2 or 3 starts in St. Paul, and I attribute some of that to just disappointment and frustration that he didn't make the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something to that. He didn't have a good camp, and I think, all right, Mick Abel outpitched him and deserved the spot more than him. And I wonder if there was some of that lingering frustration and disappointment that factored into how he began his professional season, if you will. And then I think he settled in, realizing, you know what, there's going to be opportunity. Now, we would love to see this opportunity happen later in the year, but that's not going to happen. You're going to deal with just injury after injury, and that's what's taking place. I think the Twins are dealing with, an odd amount of starting pitching injuries at the same time, but thankfully Joe Ryan is not in that group, and I'm sure we'll get to that here in a minute. But, yeah, Zebby is given a chance now, and what I don't know, what does this mean for Sim?
Yes.
Because Sim is still on the team, and Sim has struggled. There is nothing you can say that points to Sim throwing well. There's no number that I can say, okay, well, he's doing this well. It's been awful for Sim this season. For now, though, he's on the team, and he's out of options. So does he go to the bullpen? Yeah. How did things play out? Twins are going to watch the innings for Connor Prelup here moving forward, and that's why he was giving an extra day. In fact, 2 extra days here. He's going to pitch in the ball game tomorrow. He last through on Friday, so he's going to be going on 8 days, if you will, between starts. So they're going to watch his innings, and maybe that somehow allows Sim to get back in there somehow, some way. But I think Zebby's here to stay for the time being.
So as Twins fans, Corey, wake up here on May the 15th. They're 3.5 games out of first place. They're sitting in third. What do we make of this team? Is this fool's gold? Is this how bad the division's going to be the rest? I know it's hard to project anything for 4 months down the road, but just a synopsis of where things are at on the 15th of May.
I mean, I don't think you're going to have to win 92 games to win this division.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're hovering in the upper 80s, if that's kind of where your projection and maybe your outlook takes you, that probably is going to put you in contention to win this division. Barring, I think the Tigers, they're in deep trouble here. Speaking of injuries,
yes,
the team has got, and not just Skubal, but there are many more. I haven't seen this note recently, but earlier in the week, I think they were tied with the Astros for the most players in the IL with 14. So they are really struggling, and your Mets just swept them.
Yes.
Yesterday, the first sweep for the Mets all year. So they're fighting it, big time in so many ways. The Guardians, the Twins just won that series, but then they swept the Angels, and then they are home tonight, starting a series with the Reds. They're playing well. I mean, Cleveland is playing well. The White Sox are above 500. Let's repeat that. The White Sox are above 500 here in mid-May, and the Twins haven't seen them yet.
No.
And they have some young talent. They outplayed the Twins last year. The Twins will see them next on this upcoming road trip for the first time, a 4-game series in Chicago. So give the White Sox credit too. I mean, they're playing well, but the outlook for me is it's not going to take, I think, 95 wins to win this division. So 88, 89, 90, 91 wins. That probably is going to be enough to win this thing.
Joe Ryan tonight is to start this weekend set with the Brewers. Again, the fact that we're saying Joe Ryan is pitching after how it happened, him coming off the mound a week and a half ago, Corey, this is just a great sign anyway that he's back, and because that image is still burned in my mind. Like, boy, that might be the last time we see him in 2026.
No question.
Yeah.
What we saw 6 days ago in Cleveland, that was beyond best case scenario.
Yep.
That was what happened here. I mean, he won the lottery here. This was incredible. The fact that he was able to pitch, 6 days after that scare, but then the way he pitched, the velocity that he maintained, not to mention he threw a season-high 107 pitches.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's the most pitches he's thrown in the start this season. I mean, I would have thought, okay, he's going to start, but he's not going to go more than, 75, 80 pitches here, maybe 4 or 5 innings max, and that'll be it. But the fact that he pitched as well as he did, as deep as he did, the amount of pitches, I mean, that blew, I think, all of us away. It was a great sign. And now he'll be tested against a good Milwaukee team here tonight. But, yeah, I didn't see that coming, Dom, and I think we said as much, when we spoke last week in Cleveland about how this was going to look.
Right.
Who knew? And Joe was fantastic, and it should be a good atmosphere, good weather here tonight for Game 1.
Can I go back to Cleveland just for a second? First, I thought of you right away that the Twins won not only one one-run game against the Guardians, they won 2 one-run games against Cleveland last weekend.
And for the amount of occasions we have seen the Twins have
Right.
walked off in that ballpark in the last 3 or 4 years, that was such a jolt of adrenaline. And the game Saturday was an unbelievable game. I mean, just the ups and downs, and you think, all right, 5-man infielder, not once, not twice. Brooks Lee having his best game defensively, saving the game a couple of times, the final out of the game. And, we had a good shot there of the emotion from the players as we were going to commercial break before postgame. But seeing that was not your typical win. I mean, that was, you saw the emotion from the guys. It was an exuberant handshake line, high five line with chest bumps, and because that one was sweet. And I think many on that field well aware of how difficult it has been to win in Cleveland and the amount of heartache and heartbreak we have seen with the Twins and Guardians over the years. So to go in there and to not just win the series, but to win a pair of one-run games, I think certainly played into how the guys played this week against Miami.
Now, is the red flag out that Byron Buxton did not play yesterday after he's got 15 home runs, which is 3rd in the American League? Or is this something to be worried about with the hip flexor, or was it just he needed a day off?
I mean, I look for small little wins with things like that.
Yeah.
The fact that he was in the dugout, to me, was a small win.
Okay.
That he didn't go and get more imaging and more testing and things like that. I hope not. I mean, we joked at the end of the game last night about, Byron, and then Morty and I at the same time were thinking, well, you hit all these home runs. Yeah, you're putting all that turn and that torque into your body, and so maybe that's a byproduct. That we said that with obviously some jest, but I hope it's not because they need him tonight. So hopefully it was just a day, something minor. Maybe it wouldn't shock me if he's DHing tonight, if he is able to play, and maybe he's just not in center. And Ryan Kreidler played a good center while he was in St. Paul. So I think either between him and James Outman, I think those are your 2 options right now to back up if Byron can't play at least defensively in center field in this upcoming series.
So it was Ryan Kreidler that got called up, and Matt Wallner sent down, Corey. We had talked about Wallner 2 weeks ago. I think you even said living on borrowed time. That time expired. So now it's Kreidler that's up. Were you surprised that he was and not Emmanuel Rodriguez that was the next guy up?
No, because he's hurt. And
Yeah.
I think if Rodriguez was healthy, I think this move happens before the last road trip. Right? I think if Rodriguez was healthy, to me, I was like, okay, Emma's going to come up and join the team in Washington, and he was going to be active for that Nationals Guardian series. I think this was only a matter of time. I just think there was only so much you could see, and I think for Matt, I don't think he's upset by the decision. I think he gets it, and he needs to just reset.
Yeah.
And this happened to Matt a couple of years ago, too.
Yeah.
It was actually early. He got optioned down, I want to say maybe mid to late April. He got off to a terrible start in 2024. It was like one for his first, whatever it was, 35, 40, a ton of strikeouts, and he went down, and then he was there for about 6-7 weeks, and then came up and went on a tear. And what I think everybody's going to be wondering, and we talked about this too yesterday, and it brought back, memories of Jose Barrios early on in his career, where I think we always showed these images on TV as well. There were so many people working with him about, okay, your mechanics, where are you holding the ball? Are you hiding the ball? Are you showing the ball too much? Where are you with your arms? So many chefs in that kitchen. I think the same is being said right now for Matt Wallner. So many people have opinions and have thoughts about his swing. Now, what does he do with this swing? And that's what I'm curious to see. I mean, because I think the swing he has, it's not working. There's too many parts. It's too open. It's too long. There's too many holes in the swing. The timing is off. He's got just, either breaking balls down or fastballs up. Too many holes with where he's at with his swing. And I think, not so much for me, but hearing Justin, hearing Trevor, hearing Paul Molitor, even Glenn Perkins from a pitching standpoint, and I'm sure the hitting team as well, thinks like, hey, we've got to try something new here. This isn't working. And that's where I think is going to be, all eyes are going to be on Wallner in that context. I mean, what does the swing look like in St. Paul? Are there differences? Because we will see him again, and will we notice results? Will we notice change with Matt Wallner's swing the next time we see him with the big league club?
Couple minutes left here with Cory Provus joining us each and every Friday, talk some Minnesota Twins. Email comes in. Dom, we asked Corey on any update on Taj Bradley and how serious his injury is.
So far, so good.
Okay.
I think, he got a second opinion, and nothing from Dr. Meister came back that raised more red flags. He's scheduled to throw a bullpen at some point this weekend, and I don't know what day that's going to be, but that will be certainly a good sign that Taj is progressing, in the right way, that, he gets through that, maybe he makes, one or two bullpens and he makes a rehab start, then perhaps he joins the team on the next road trip. It's a long road trip. It's a 10-game, 3-city road trip that if he's able to get through his bullpen this weekend, and then probably maybe one more, that if he can make a rehab start for the Saints, who are home this week, probably on the road next week, but then maybe they're back in town, he gets out there at some point, that, you're looking at, maybe Chicago or Pittsburgh is to when Taj is back here in a couple of weeks.
It's the Brewers this weekend. It looks like the Minnesota's going to miss the wonderkind pitcher, thankfully. What do we make of the Brewers in 2026?
Yeah, I'm bummed. I'm sure the hitters are thrilled, but we saw Jacob Mizorowski last year, and that was awesome.
Yes.
That was really fun to watch, seeing this kid pitch and throw, and he's somebody you buy a ticket for. So he threw on Wednesday. Twins will not see him this weekend. In fact, Milwaukee hasn't really announced their pitching plans much here this weekend. They've got TBA for tonight and Sunday, but they're a really good team. Their season high, 7 games over 500. They were an out away from sweeping the Padres before this series starts here tonight. They have the fewest home runs in baseball, but they draw a ton of walks. They run, they defend, and their pitching numbers are fantastic, both starters and bullpen. They play good defense. They play a really fun, clean brand of baseball that gave the Twins a lot of trouble. Certainly that series at Target Field last season, and that was pretty one-sided. So this is a tough test. Now, the Twins, oddly, they're seeing 3 consecutive opponents whose strength is base running. Cleveland, Miami, Milwaukee, and have done pretty well. And for the most part, why? because they limited the walks, and what hurt Sim the other night was he walked with Xavier Edwards. The first 4 pitches of the game were balls, and it was ball 4 to start the game. That is pivotal in this series because Milwaukee will bunt, and they will just run and steal second, steal third, heck, may even steal home. That you just can't walk this team, and that I think played a big part into why the Twins won 2 out of 3 in Cleveland, won 2 out of 3 against Miami. Is that for the most part those winning days and games, maybe outside of Kendra Rojas on Sunday in Cleveland, they did a great job limiting the free passes against these opponents.
I'm going to end with the hardest hitting question I have. This weekend is a nerd delight. It's Star Wars night tomorrow, and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Day on Sunday. Are you kidding? Which one was your favorite?
That's
Do you have one?
Weekend. That's my kind of weekend. I love Star Wars Day.
Yes.
And I love it because so many of my peers and my colleagues have never seen it. And so I can just throw out all these different Star Wars lines, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. I mean, it's so fun. If I talk about Chewie and Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, the Rebellion, the Death Star, they have no idea what I'm talking about. I mean, anything. I mean, Yoda, it's just they have no idea what I'm getting into, and the look on their faces just brings this giant smile to my face. Actually, as we promoted Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Day, everybody seems to be pretty up to date on that.
Okay.
Okay. So that's fun and all, but between that and promoting Ludacris with Paul Molitor here this weekend, I mean, that is right on a par 5 tee box for me, Dom, because I'm just going to have – I got euchre ideas here left and right, how to make fun of Paul in a kind way and try to bring him up to speed on Star Wars and Ludacris. This is my kind of series.
So you have a Mandalorian or Grogu reference that's going to go over well tomorrow night, right?
So, yeah, now that side of it, I know a little bit of that, but I'm not as up to date on that Star Wars chapter. The early stuff, I'm telling you, I love it. I talk in my house like Jabba the Hutt, and I like doing that with my kids, and it's really fun. And C-3PO and R2-D2, these are my peeps.
Yep.
Stormtroopers.
There we go.
Danny would have the line. Danny would have the line like, "Luke, I am your father."
Yep.
But he would do that. That was like from Tommy Boy, right? That's when Chris
That's right.
Farley would kind of speak into the fan. That was Danny's impression of Vader. So he's taking that right out of Tommy Boy, but I like doing the real thing.
We ended with the hard-hitting stuff. Have a great call this weekend, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Thanks, Tom.
There he goes. Cory Provus joining us. Appreciate him being flexible and our staff being flexible as well here. If we could kill that on your guys' set. There we go. Good stuff there from the voice of the Twins on TV. Tonight, by the way, it is apparently the bobblehead package for tomorrow is already sold out, which is exclusive Grogu bobblehead. We got Grogu here on set, but the bobblehead would make it next level there. Twins and Brewers coming earlier start tonight because the Wolves are playing at Target Center at 8:30. All right, we'll break. We'll come back. We'll reset. We'll do our second hour here on a Friday morning edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. We're back after this.
Hot Mic on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, a little delayed on that. Appreciate Cory Provus bearing with us there. Always live TV, fun stuff to do. We'll see what happens with the Twins over the weekend. Milwaukee is good. Brewers just are always consistent in pitching, stealing bases. They are doing it again here in 2026. I was just reading the NBA put out late last night potential TV scenarios for the weekend, depending on what happens with Cavs-Pistons tonight, who play Game 6 before Wolves-Spurs. Both those games, by the way, Amazon Prime tonight. And that relates to the conversation we've been having over the last few days, and I really appreciate it. I've gotten a ton of feedback from different viewers and listeners on the status of sports and streaming right now. And I got another one that came in after the show was done yesterday. It says, Dom, just to chime in on this, none of the leagues know how it's going to go play out for future generations. Today's adults who made the NFL the most popular league had free over-the-air games every Sunday to watch. Monday Night Football was over-the-air too. Virtually every house in the U.S. had access to the game. Now, every child is restricted to what they have access to. I'm a baseball guy, so my kids have access to all the Twins games, but I'm not paying to chase NFL games. I'm not paying to chase Bison games. I'm paying to chase baseball. How sports crazy will future generations be when their access to watch is restricted? I appreciate that email. I would tell you, if it seems like it's more restricted or more streaming crazy, I would tell you I think it's more us talking about it than it actually is reality. Because I would tell you reality would say, and it is saying, that there are more games available on broadcast television now than there ever has been before. And that may sound crazy when I say it, but think of this. The NBA just signed a deal. This is the first year of it, where NBC is in the mix. So they have more games over the air because TNT had the old deal, and that was cable. And I know cable sounds, oh, who doesn't have cable? I know there are quite a few that don't have cable. But if you are signing a deal to get back on broadcast TV, that's a huge deal. I'll even look at the Mountain West package. The Mountain West television package for football has a deal now with CBS and CBS Sports Network, most notably. So the games are going to be available on cable. Fox, which most notably is going to be on Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2. And the CW. The CW is available all over the air. That you can get that on your antenna. So when we find out the schedule here in a couple weeks for the Mountain West Network and who's going to be available there, those games are actually more readily available over the air as opposed to streaming or cable. I would say, to answer the emailer's point directly, yeah, that's a risk I think they're willing to take now, certainly in the NFL, because they think they know people will move mountains to watch football. I don't think that popularity is going anywhere, even 10 years from now, when kids now are, let's say my son's age, are 6, when he's 16, which is blowing my mind thinking that out loud, 16 or 17, NFL popularity I don't think is going anywhere. Same with college football popularity. Now the other ones, granted, hockey's had a amazing television ride, and that can be pointed to maybe the format of their postseason. That's a debate for another day on how they've done it. But that is something worth discussing on their end, is how popular it is there. NBA ratings have been through the roof. It's almost folly to predict anything that far down the road, but in terms of where they're at popularity-wise, it's pretty darn good right now. So we'll see. But I appreciate that. We'll have a couple more emails on that before we say goodbye. Don't want to hold up our next guest any longer because, she's actually has a real job. We're talking here in Fantasyland. But if you missed it earlier this week, University of North Dakota announced its incoming Hall of Fame class. It'll be honored at upcoming football game this fall. Was an outstanding, now we could say Hall of Fame women's basketball career. Jenny Christofferson joins us here this morning to chat about being inducted to the UND Athletic Hall of Fame. How are you, Ben? It's great to see you.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I got you great. How you been?
Awesome. I've been great.
All right,
it's spring, so
yeah.
5 kids, senior down to 6-year-old, so not busy at all.
All right, tell me when you got the phone call, what went through your mind?
It's just an honor. It's just, I think I got flooded with memories. And, last year our team was inducted. So I got to see quite a few people and just kind of relive kind of the glory days. And now, as an individual, I think it just makes you grateful. It was just fun to hear Roebuck's voice on the other end of the line and just get the phone call. So.
Did you know it was coming when Gene called you? Like, I think I know what this is about.
Well, it's not a normal thing for him to give me a jingle. So yeah, it was either something bad happened or something like that. I don't know.
Tell me about, I'm interested because obviously your daughter is going through the recruiting process now. Take me back what this was. What do you remember about your recruiting deal when you went through it?
It's pretty different. You know, I narrowed down quick. I knew I wanted to play at either NDSU or UND awfully quickly. At the time, I kind of said no to the D1s right off the bat. I knew I wanted to play as a freshman. I wanted to play right away. I knew I was kind of undersized for my position. And so I was like, well, I'm down to these two awesome teams. And I went on visits and picked UND, and the rest was history. It was great. My visit there was awesome. And we give her a lot of advice, but we also just let her do her thing because, you know, Jordan has her own story. So,
well, and now, I mean, and I know I talked with both you and your husband about this, like when it opened for Jordan, like emails or tweets or direct messages where I'm assuming you got letters sent to you. I imagine that was the case.
Yeah, it was letters, eventually phone calls, visit. I mean, it's so different with visits even.
Right.
You know, like everything is so different. And she's our first one to kind of go through it. And so now with some of our other ones starting the process as well, we're seasoned now. So I asked a lot of questions to some of the coaches right off the bat and just said, okay, how do we navigate this with her? Jordan's so mature. I don't know if that's the word, but she knows what she wants. She's close to making her choice. And I remember being in that position and you just know, and for me, it was within seconds of being at UND. It just felt like home. And I wanted to win a national championship and they had just won 3.
So, and that's what I wanted to bring up because I wasn't here to see that. I've seen the old videos, and I don't mean old, so don't take that offense on that. But
I'm old.
You grew up watching it. So watching it and then to be able to be a part of what NDSU UND was there, what would that mean to you?
I mean, I don't think anyone really realizes, the hype around NDSU football right now. That is how it felt around UND women's basketball at the time. We had packed houses. There was no room. And we were in the old Hislop and in the Ralph. The Betty wasn't built yet. But I mean, when we would go to NDSU or UND, it was completely packed. And honestly, the vibe was just so much fun. And I just wanted to be a part of that. And that was kind of my thing, Jordan's no different. Like we're kind of the hype people, get your hands up, let's go. And so that is what I wanted. And that's what I got for 4 straight years is just fans and people and just, I mean, it's amazing. I'll go watch my nephew play football at UND and I'll sit with my husband and I'll walk down the football, like group of people and they'll say, Jenny Ball. So it's just kind of fun it's a big, huge family up there.
You mentioned playing as a freshman. What was that like being thrown in right away as well? Like, okay, there's no easing in. You're playing a lot right away.
Well, it was what I wanted.
Yeah.
I remember training like no other that summer before I came. But I mean, I followed Jenny Krause. And if anybody knows who she is, she was like 2 or 3-time National Player of the Year. I was 3 inches shorter than her, didn't play anything like her. And so it was probably challenging for my coach more than anything and the team to have to adjust to my style. But it was just an honor for me to be out there as a freshman. And, I think 1 or 2 games I didn't start and then coach got me right into the starting lineup and never looked back. And it was fun. It was an honor. So to be able to do that after 3 national championships was a big deal for me.
You mentioned that. When did you get a sense like I can play? Was it then when you got into the starting lineup or when you felt comfortable like I can handle this?
Well, the summer prior to I was only 17. And Katie Richards in inaugural, she's one of the most instrumental people in my journey. Only, for many, many reasons. There's so many others, but her influence on me the summer before, she beat me up. She straight up, I came in, she beat me up and she told me, we got to get you ready to play. And she did. And that's kind of when I knew is coming in that summer before is, I might be in the mix here. And it was kind of fun just to learn from those vets. I mean, they were the style of play, the fast, the sprinting, that's what I liked. So it was pretty cool that I got to do that.
I'm a relatively new dad. My son is going to be 7, so he doesn't really care about anything I do. So I asked this, do your kids know that you could ball, that you were really good?
Well, Jordan finally beat me at, I don't know what grade it was in, maybe 9th grade, 8th grade. She'll probably know more than I do. But we used to play one-on-one even. And, I am not in shape. So she should have beat me, but I taught her how to be tough in the brain. And I just said, you got to figure out how to beat your mom at some point. But no, I've been coaching for 20 some years. Yeah. So they've all had me as a coach. And right now it's about them, but it's pretty fun to take them in pig or something. And I do tell them, I'm like, why don't any of you want to score? Isn't that important in basketball? So
2 NCC titles, 3 conference tournament championships. You made it the NCAA tournament all 4 years, Elite 8 as well. That's 4 straight years going to the tournament. Again, that's what you signed up that you wanted to do. But to go and do that, when I say that, what's that mean to you now as you look back?
I think it prepared me for everything. Like all of us, you have to find a certain level of grit to do that year in, year out. We did not win a national championship when I was there. We got 2nd place. We were ahead by 20 and lost somehow in overtime. But the friendships, the long season, the never getting a spring break, just the commitment level, but that's what we wanted. That's what I wanted. I just remember being all in. So all in all the time, morning till night. Obviously academics was important to me and still is, but the basketball experience I had I would not change anything besides the ring.
Yeah. I have a couple other here going down memory lane. Tell me about playing at the BSA. What was that like playing in Fargo?
It was fun. It was packed. It was nothing like playing at the Hislop, and any Bison player could probably tell you that too. Like I'm friends with some of them now, because you couldn't even put your feet on the sideline to take the ball out. People would talk to you while you did, but the BSA was fun because it was more packed. There's more people. And honestly, it was just, my husband tells stories about, some of the choice words that people would say about me in the stands.
I bet.
We'll call it a friendly rivalry, but I'm not really sure it is. So, it was awesome. It was awesome. And some of those girls are great friends of mine now.
Was there another place that was anywhere close to playing like that on the road, or was nothing compared to Fargo?
No, nothing compared to that. No.
It's funny now.
No, it was super fun. It still is. I like to go. I still go to games there, a lot. And I just enjoy watching. I like the coaches. Fargo's become our home. And, with Jordan having that be, as of right now, I would say her top choice. We might be seeing a lot of me over there. So.
I was talking with your husband about that actually this morning. How would that sit with you if you guys have to change colors?
I'm okay. He's not there yet. When we went on our visit, or I don't know, one of the times we've been there, he would not do the fingers. He would not put it up for her. So he may or may not have worn a T-shirt underneath that he shouldn't have as well.
You know what? I've spoken to plenty of parents who have done that. So you guys are not alone on that.
He said he would only cheer for Jordan, but I think he'll convert.
Who was your toughest guard? Like, who was the toughest you had to try and face in your collegiate days?
I was. Somebody asked me that like a few weeks ago, and honestly, I don't. Jane, even from NDSU, like I see her now, and I was only a freshman, so she used to hold my jersey. I was fast, right? And she was way better than me at the time, and she used to hold my jersey all the time, and so I couldn't run down the floor and run away from her. And I remember the process of like me becoming a slower senior then and me holding people's jerseys. So at the time, she definitely was one of the toughest people I guarded. So
how big a deal is it for you? You were going in with Becky as well, one of your former teammates for this coming up in October.
Yeah. She and I were just a 1-2 punch all the way through. And we called it 2-game. Roebuck would probably confirm that. We just set a pick for her and roll and see what happens. Yeah. So that was quite a bit of our offense. It was fun. She's so talented. She could score from all 3 levels, defend. She deserves it. She's phenomenal. So it's an honor to be put in the same boat as her. And, I I hope that a lot of people show up. I think they will, and it's a fun time. And Chad Mustard too. Like he played with both at the same time I did, and with Josh in football. So kind of fun. He was amazing. So
I've asked other inductees about this. Are you more nervous about the speech part? Like, are you ready for that to do that part?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I had to give a speech though. At the end of my career, I had to give like the big luncheon speech out of all the athletes. Holy cow, that was nerve wracking. This one, it's pretty easy to gush about UND athletics for me. It's pretty easy to talk about the coaches, the players, the fans. I mean, the fans that we had, and some of them are still doing it. So that part I'm not nervous about. So
it's great to catch up. Thanks so much for doing this. Congratulations. Look forward to catching up with you guys soon. Thanks so much for doing this morning, okay?
Thanks, Tom.
Good to see you. Jen Christofferson joining us. Jenny Bull now heading into the UND Athletic Hall of Fame. That'll happen at halftime of the Murray State game later on this fall. One of the all-time greats. And if anyone's seen her daughter Jordan play for the Horace Hawks, who were state champs a couple years ago, and she's right in the throes right now of going through the recruiting process. The kind of talent that Jordan has, obviously coming from her mom and dad. We appreciate that. All right, we'll get caught up here. We got a couple breaks to get in. Tochi Okoro coming up as well, new NDSU transfer wide receiver in about 15 minutes as well. We'll take a break. Hot Mic back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KNBN, and Inforum.com right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Our thanks to Jenny Bull. That was great. Excited to see what daughter Jordan decides. I know she's on the recruiting trail right now with her dad, so we'll hopefully have an answer on that. Part of the class of 2027. They have to have their, I would say sometime this summer we'll have an announcement, maybe sooner than later, on that. I always get fun emails. This is an email I'm going to read, and when he gets older, he can get mad at me, because I will embarrass him for time ever, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm his dad. But I got an email from my son's first grade teacher, and I'm going to read it here because this is a dad moment. Courtney and Dom, I want to let you know what wonderful growth I've seen with Jack's reading. We had a reading assessment on Wednesday. He read 71 words in a minute. Over the last few weeks, I've noticed a big jump in his reading where he's in the 70s. I'm so proud of him. Thank you for spending the time and reading with him. It has really paid off. Way to go, Jack, man. I knew he could do it. Oh, that's so awesome. 71 words. I can't do 71 in a minute. And I know he's already killing it in math. So, yeah, I can brag. He's my son. It's my show. I'm going to do it. I don't care. But that is so cool. Yeah, he's been going every night. We've been doing it. I know some nights he'll groan at me like, "Oh, Dad." I'm like, "Yeah, we got to do it." And he's doing words like second, third grade, probably. I'm just saying I could do it. I'm his dad. I'm going to brag about him. But awesome, buddy. And that's for, you tell Grandma and Grandpa's both here in Moorhead and back in New York that I know they're watching. There you go. That's awesome news. There's some breaking. That's the best kind of breaking news we can share on the show. All right, let's break. We come back. We'll meet the newest member of the Bison football team coming his way out of Kansas. Tochi Okoro will join us when Hot Mic returns on WDAY Extra right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour of the week here on this Friday morning. Getting ready for an action-packed sports weekend. We'll tell you all about that here in about 15 minutes worth of time, but not before we visit with our last guest of the week. Mentioned earlier that NDSU was not done tinkering with its 2026 football roster. You met Nayoti Puni earlier in the week out of Holy Cross, a transfer that's going to be playing running back for the Bison. They added a wide receiver as well. native of Dodge City, Kansas, comes his way from Garden City Community College. Tochi Okoro joins us here to wrap up our week to chat about coming to Fargo in the not-too-distant future. Thanks for doing this, bud. I appreciate it. You give us the lowdown. How did this come about that you're going to be in Fargo in a couple weeks?
Coach Cratley just hit me up like a week ago. He said, I like your film. I want you to come down here this weekend. I was like, bet. He picked me a visit. I came up there that Saturday, and I loved it automatically. Fargo is a great place, bigger than I expected. About 300,000 people. I was like, dang, way bigger than Garden and Dodge combined.
Were you describe your portal experience, your experience here? You got done playing this past year. Were you graduate all that? What was next for you? Were you basically waiting for a phone call?
Yeah, I was waiting. I waited to the last minute. So he texted me like the last week of school. I was waiting. I was just shocked.
Were you getting nervous?
It all came back so fast. Yeah, I was nervous too. It all happened so fast. Like blink of an eye. I was just there.
It's funny how life works like that. Had you heard from NDSU before last week, or was that out of the blue first time you had heard from them?
Just out of the blue, first time.
So, all right. So we talk about this is really speed dating. Give us your trip up here then, because I'm sure this is a whirlwind. You find out okay, they want you to come up here.
Mm-hmm. So he hit my line. He texted me to come down. I came down. So I booked a flight to Garden, to Dallas to Fargo. That was my first time flying. Since I was a 3, so everything was so new. I was just nervous not to miss my flight and just make it everything on time. So when they picked me up from the airport and Fargo, the airport and the dorm was like 2 minutes away. It was like,
yep.
Then he took me around Fargo, exploring. Like, dang, this is kind of big. All these food places, made me happy. Then we got some Chipotle. I talked to the head coach, and everything went good after that.
What did you were looking for, I guess, on the football side of things here? Obviously, you're excited to get a chance to keep playing, but what did you know, or what the research you did on NDSU before you got up here?
Just research, like, the powerhouse of the football team. Like, they win FCS, like, titles back-to-back each year consecutively. Then they moved up to the FBS, which is even better. So that was a good opportunity for me to develop and put out what I have.
So the meeting happens. Did they want an answer right away? Like, did you have to say yes or no, or did they give you a couple of days to think about it?
They were like, "Can you get down here right now?" I was like, "Yes." It wasn't even a question.
Did you get a chance to meet some of the other? Were they any members of the team, or were they all scattered?
They were mostly like gone for a break.
Yeah.
So like the campus was like dry, and not dry, but like less people.
Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, your life has changed basically. You'd say in the last week. Have you even wrapped your mind around what's happened here?
Not yet, but kind of now since I'm home from school, so everything started processing, kind of figured things out a little bit more, which is nice.
So now school, where we're gonna go. This just what's ahead then now, man, that you've had this figured out. What's the next couple weeks look like for you?
Just packing. Just packing.
For those who don't know you, we've a little bit of your highlights. Give us your football background. You're from Dodge City, your experience there, and then playing at Garden City the last couple of years.
So I was a 3-sport athlete through high school, so I played basketball, track, and football. Football, I was average. I wasn't that good. Then Garden City wanted me because of my speed, and they could work with me, so I committed there. Then I just keep on developing. They worked with me. I put in work my own time, of course, and I just gotten better. Then I started making plays, and coaches realizes that I could be that guy.
Was there another sport that you liked more than football? You said you weren't very good at it. Was it basketball or track you liked more?
Nah, football was the main, but I just played basketball and track.
Yeah.
Yeah, or ran track.
What did they do at Garden City that brought out maybe the best in you?
Probably the work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like JUCO, everyone's dogs. Like everyone got to work, everyone got to eat. So that they put that on me too. So I just got to work.
Your size obviously speaks for itself. Can you describe yourself out as a wide receiver for people watching you or getting ready to come see you play? How would you describe yourself on the field?
Speed, big body. I can move for my size as well. So that's a good thing.
So now that this is happening, I mean, how excited are you for? Okay, no one's excited for summer workouts. You might be one of them. Tell me about what in the immediate future. You mentioned packing, but then getting up here and learning the playbook, all that. Describe what's the next few steps look like?
The next few steps probably just learn the playbook. They gave me like some of the formations to learn and the plays. I just got to memorize that and learn that and get comfortable with that so I can play fast on the field. So that's probably the next step I have to do.
Tochi, if they didn't call, were you thinking, all right, maybe I'm done, or were there other schools out there that had given you a call?
No, I thought it was done.
Yeah,
I thought I had to go like a little bit lower level.
Yep.
Which is fine, but like I try to make it big. For
playing at your level, Iowa Western, I believe you guys play. So you're playing against the really, really good junior college teams there. Describe the competition level you faced on a week-to-week basis at Garden City?
Everyone's good. Yeah. Everyone's dogs. They won't have one goal is to go D1, so it's a dogfight.
What is that? Especially a wide receiver, what's that like? Because only one of you can get the ball. How difficult is that when you're trying to get your name out there, but you're not in a spot that readily you have the ball every time?
You can't be selfish. If I don't get a ball, I'll be blocking, cheering my team up, making my teammate score a touchdown, do whatever I can to help out the team. So that's probably the hardest part, be wide receiver, because you're not getting the ball all the time. You have to make yourself do other plays in order for you to win.
I saw that on your tape as well. Tell us about your blocking ability, because that's something up here. I'm sure they told you, like, you're not going to play unless you can block at wide receiver.
But I could block. If I don't catch the ball, I can block. So no block, no rock. What they tell us.
For those, we're not initiated to high school football in your part of the world. How good is it on a night-to-night, week-to-week basis in Dodge City in Kansas and where you were growing up?
Dodge City's like pretty boring and nothing much to do here, but people have one goal too, just get better each day. We have facilities, we have turf, we have everything. You just have to put the work in and make yourself better every day.
How big a deal is high school football on a Friday night in your hometown?
It's pretty big. Yeah. That's all we have, so everyone just pop out and show out.
What was that, and what was the competition level you were facing on a weekly basis?
In high school?
Yeah.
There's some dogs. There's some like here and there people, like here and there, but every day, every week is a new week, so you got to put your best game on.
All right, so now we mentioned you got packing to do. You know you're coming up here. What's the research been like you've been doing? You got your playbook of finding out what Fargo is like and what NDSU is like, because this is late to the party, man, that you're going to be coming up here.
Yeah. So I'm just hoping everything works out well. I could do my part and just be me, and not to do too much or too less. Just be me.
How much you feel like, before I let you go on this, just hey, I've got another chance to keep playing, just a chance to keep my career going. When I say that, what goes through your mind?
I just feel blessed. I just feel thankful each and every day that I can play football and I can go to school for free and just play the sport I love.
What else stood out when you got up here? You mentioned how big Fargo is, and I think a lot of people always say that they come and visit here, like, oh, it's bigger than I thought. Getting a look at the Fargo Dome, all that. What are the couple takeaways you had? Like, wow, this is something I wasn't expecting.
I thought it'd be cold, but it wasn't as cold. I thought it'd be freezing. I was like, dang, it's gonna be cold, but it wasn't cold. But it was gonna get cold. But at the time I was there, it was pretty nice. Yeah, the weather was pretty good.
It gets okay around here every now and then. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you doing this, bud. Congratulations. I know it's been a whirlwind here for the last 7-8 days. Good luck packing, because no one likes doing that. And we'll see you up here in a few weeks, okay?
All right. See ya.
There he is, Tochi Okoro joining us, transfer wide receiver for North Dakota State, coming his way from Garden City Community College by way of Dodge City, Kansas. And you talk about up against it. That is kind of the last minute for adding a guy. And at this moment, NDSU's looking at it, well, hey, if there's a chance we can take, I don't know, flyers, maybe not the right word or maybe too harsh of a word, the guy that we think he can maybe potentially help us, we'll see. That is 3 separate wide receivers that they have added in the portal since the middle of spring football. Jeremiah Patterson, the transfer of Arizona, Jordan McCants, transfer from West Virginia via Jacksonville State, and now Tochi is the last one. And, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. You draw 2 and 2 together there that maybe the staff is not as thrilled with the playmaking ability they have at that particular position heading into the Mountain West Conference. We'll see. I think, Jackson Williams, certainly you have a playmaker there. You hope you have a playmaker. You've seen glimpses of it in Mekhi Collins, but not enough to say that's definitely, I think Mekhi certainly has all the ability. He has the physical tools to potentially go out there and dominate. He has not been able to stay on the field the last 2 years because of injury. That's a question there. And then after that, Isaiah St. Romain certainly has a lot of flash, hasn't played a ton. Logan Conklin has some flash and size at 6'4", I want to say, for Conklin, but hasn't played a ton yet. And then you have a lot of players that are almost the same guy, like a Kate Osterman, my guy Johnny Gores. You have some players that are, Chris Keel's another guy we featured that potentially could break through and be a guy that might be able to get on the field. On special teams, specifically this upcoming fall, they really like the young kid Dylan Vocal, who redshirted this past season, then broke his foot at the end of spring ball. I think that was a guy I was looking forward to during that final spring practice to see him. We couldn't because Vocal broke his foot. But that's what they have in the stable right now. Now they have some incoming freshmen that they like, a couple guys out of Illinois that are quick. But I don't think you're going adding these kind of players with experience if you're not totally thrilled with what you have in that position group. So now it's about, specifically for those 3 guys, can they catch on and learn the offense and be catch the ball, as Polisic would always remind his players once we get to summer workouts and fall camp. We'll see. But I believe, from what I've been told, that's likely the final addition. So they're well into the teens in terms of portal ads this year. That's going to be common occurrence. We talked plenty on the men's basketball roster of what they've done. Football hasn't gone that deep in, but obviously with the guys that they left and other additions, that's probably going to be, I would say, the norm. Right around 13 to 15 is probably going to be the norm every year going forward, unless you have some abnormality where you get a bunch of guys to stay, or you don't have as many departures as you may anticipate. That's probably going to be a new norm for Bison fans to get used to as well. So appreciate his time here this morning. Let's take our final break. We come back, we'll put a bow on things for the week, get you ready for a great sports weekend. Hot Mike will wrap on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, wrapping things up here. A busy week in the books. We're back with you on Monday to unpack everything. Hopefully we've got details of a Minnesota Timberwolves 3-2 rally to win against the Spurs. We'll do it all on Monday. Twins weekend set with Milwaukee. We'll recap everything from the track, the Summit League Championships, and we will be closing in on the end of the season. Regular season is done tonight for EDC Baseball. So we'll have the EDC Baseball tournament next week. Region baseball tournaments in Class B are going on, softball as well. Next week from today, is day 2 of the North Dakota State track meet. We'll be out there for live coverage again this year, our second year of doing that, next Friday and next Saturday from Bismarck. Early, the old Storm Tracker app, I was looking at this because we're going from 80 today to 40 next week, which is typical for the state meet. Next Thursday, first day, 66. Friday, 72. Saturday, 75. That's all right. You can live with that. We've had time out in Bismarck. I can remember covering it one year when Laura Raisler was still racing for Fargo South. We had one day we couldn't start because it was too cold, and then the next day or 2 days later we couldn't start because it was too hot. It was in the span of 3 days in Bismarck. So we'll see what I bet. If we get anywhere close to that, we're living pretty and we're everybody's doing well next week. Looking forward to that. We'll get you full coverage and preparation for that on next week's shows. Let's get a couple more emails in before we say goodbye and get ready to do some what to watch. It was another email that came in on the streaming coverage. I might save that more for next week because I got an email follow-up from a guy that wrote in yesterday. And I will say, again, for viewers, listeners, however they take in their sports nowadays, it's certainly going to be different than even 5 years ago. I think for each individual viewer, listener, it's what you're willing to pay for, right? To earlier email, we got a big baseball fan. They're going to pay for baseball. More power to you. For me, and I said, well, it's part of my job. Some of them are reimbursed, others are not, and that's fine. It's just part of what I have to be on top of pretty much everything. I can't not know what's going on or else I look even more foolish than some days that I do. Not that I watch it every single day, but if there's a NFL game on, I'm going to want to have the 10 different services that are out there, whether if it's my satellite, if it's through YouTube, if it's through Paramount, Peacock, Netflix, you name it, I'm going to want it for that. Now, do I use it every time? No. Like for tonight, for Amazon, yeah. I'm going to be watching because I want to watch both NBA games tonight. Certainly going to want to watch the Wolves game tonight. That's just goes with the territory. It's what are you willing to pay for? And right now, networks believe that more fans than not are going to pay for it. When they don't, that's when we'll have more change on that. We'll see. All right, let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. All right, here we go. Tonight, 8:30, Amazon Prime, Game 6, Spurs and Wolves. Minnesota wins, we get a Game 7. Spurs win, they go to the West Finals. Twins are action, as we mentioned, 6 o'clock. Note the earlier start time. It's not listed like that. 6 o'clock on Twins TV against the Brewers. And round 2 of the PGA Championship coming up on ESPN here in just a couple of minutes. We mentioned this weekend, we've got Game 6 tomorrow night on WDAY at 7 o'clock. Sabres and Canadiens. Montreal wins, they go to the conference finals. Buffalo wins, we get a Game 7. NASCAR All-Star Race this weekend on Fox Sports 1. That's at noon. And also the final round of the PGA Championship at noon on CBS. Our thanks to our guests today, to Cory Provus, to Jenny Bull Christofferson, and to Tochi Okoro. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the weather. We'll see you back here on Monday.